is Bill Ampt, a fellow social worker. He's a licensed clinical social worker who works at Iona Senior Services here in D.C. Since 2010, he's been a psychotherapist who sees older adults and caregivers. He's also coordinated Iona's marketing efforts. Prior to this, Bill was the social worker for Iona's Adult Day program and the Wellness and Arts Center. He had a 20-year career in international and domestic community and economic development, which included serving as a Peace Corps volunteer in Kenya and the Ivory Coast, before pursuing his dream of becoming a therapist and getting his Master of Social Work degree from the Catholic University of America in 2007. Bill will address some of the services that are available for older folks right now. Thanks, Bill.
Great. Thanks. Hi, everybody. I want to thank Ron and Chris for inviting Iona and me to tonight's important event. So, are you all familiar with Iona Senior Services? Somewhat? Okay. Well, for those who aren't, Iona helps older adults and their friends and family cope with the challenges of aging, and we offer a wide range of programs and services to help older adults continue to live in their homes for as long as possible. And I refer you to a handout on your chair, or maybe now it's in your lap, of tonight's presentation, but it's a PowerPoint, and there are brochures and lots of info. So I'd like to start by taking a poll. So if you had a choice between living in an assisted living facility or a nursing home, or living in your home for as long as possible, which one would you choose? How many of you would choose to live in a nursing home? Okay. How many of you would choose to live in assisted living?
Maybe.
Okay. That depends on what?
No, the joke is that when we were getting older, we would make sure that we got a chance to pick the staff. And for someone else, it would be a very muscular man to help me out of my chair.
Sounds nice. Okay. And how many of you would prefer to continue living in your home for as long as possible? Yeah. Me too. You're not alone. Most older adults, most adults in general, straight and LGBT, would rather continue living in their home for as long as possible. So what are some reasons, I'd like to ask you, what are some reasons why you'd like to continue living in your home for as long as possible?
Familiarity.
I'm sorry, what?
Familiarity.
Familiarity?
Not
Familiar.
Familiarity.
Oh, familiarity. Sure. Yeah.
Familiarity.
And familiar area too. Mm-hmm.
A sense of control.
Sense of control. Cedric, did you?
I had the word on my mouth from the broke. Independence. Being independent.
Right. Yeah, and that goes along with feeling in control and feeling independent. And there's some, in the handout, there are other reasons listed. Familiar environment, as you said. Maybe it's more affordable than moving to an assisted living facility, which can cost $5,000 to $12,000 a month. Your proximity to your friends and family, your family of choice, your faith community, etc. Also, in your own home, your social network is welcome. Moving to an assisted living or a nursing home, sometimes you may feel that your friends and family aren't welcome because you're out as a gay person, or they're considered to be gay. So there can be discrimination not only from staff but other residents in a facility, and also you have more sense of control and independence. So that all sounds great, but unfortunately, and I hate to rain on parades, but I am going to tonight, as you know, the facts of life can get in the way. And I'm not talking about the birds and the bees, but the other facts of life, about the fact that the older we get, the more likely we are to experience functional impairment that can affect our ability to live independently. And so what is functional impairment? Functional impairment can be caused by medical and physical conditions like a broken hip, a stroke, or dementia. And functional impairment can involve difficulty performing such tasks as driving, being able to manage your medications and taking them as directed, even using the restroom independently. So the longer you live, the higher the chances that you're going to encounter some functional impairment. It's not guaranteed, and hopefully Ron will never encounter functional impairment. So that's a joke. So I hope none of us has to. But functional impairment doesn't have to mean that you can't continue living in your home for as long as possible and give up control of your life. So one way you can take charge of your aging and remain in your home for as long as possible with a good quality of life, even with functional impairment, is to plan ahead and make an aging at home plan. And in the handout, I've listed, there's an outline for this aging at home plan. And I'll just quickly go through it. One thing you can do is to assess your current needs and anticipate future ones. Form a care team of family of choice, friends, professionals, like a geriatric care manager, etc., who can provide care and support if you ever need. It's good to have an idea of who you might like to include in that care team down the road, and have a conversation with them ahead of time and say, you know, there's a chance I may fall sick, and I'd like to be able to turn to you if I ever need for this, that, or the other thing. It's good to identify people's strengths because some people may be good for emotional support, may not be good for balancing your checkbook. So, you know, it'd be good to keep those things in mind. Also, as Ron was saying, identify community resources that could be of help, like lead agencies on aging, like Iona, we're part of the DC Office on Aging lead agency group. And evaluate the safety of your home and make changes as needed. Like if you are a fall risk, taking up throw rugs, putting in grab bars, putting on in a toilet riser if you have difficulties sitting on the toilet, things like that. I'm sorry, I'm using foul language tonight. But, also, be mindful of your financial and legal issues. It's good to have your medical and financial powers of attorney in place before you have functional impairment, before you, if, God forbid, you ever develop dementia. The longer you put that off, the less chance you'd be deemed competent to be able to make that decision of naming your powers of attorney, people who can make your decisions on your behalf if you ever need. And you want to avoid guardianship as much as possible. So that's taking control by identifying people who can make those decisions on your behalf. As Ron was saying, stay as socially engaged in activities as possible. And also, if you're a caregiver, take care of yourself. Caregiving is very stressful, can lead to depression, can lead to lower immune systems, and it's so important to take care of yourself. And then finally, be familiar with those housing options in case you do have to move down the road. So thanks very much.